Overclaiming is the term that we use whenever a person in a group claims more credit for what they've produced in the group than either is accurate or then is greater than what the other members of the group believe. And so there are different ways in which you can measure this, but the way that we use, which is sort of the simplest way, is that if you think of everything that the group produces as, all the contributions have to add to 100%. Right, and then you can ask each member of a group, let's say that there are 4 members in the group, what percentage of the contributions were you personally responsible for? Then what you end up seeing is that if you add up everything that they say, it often adds to more than 100%. All right, and so then we would call that overclaiming. This kind of gets into the psychological mechanisms behind why overclaiming occurs and why it is so pervasive. And so there's been a lot of amazing psychology research on this, but many researchers have come to a similar conclusion that it's related to egocentrism. So there's both the extent that you focus more on what you yourself have done during the process of the group task than focusing on what others have done. So there's an attentional component. So because sort of I'm limited by my own perspective, and of course I'm paying more attention to what I myself am doing, those are the contributions that I'm more likely to remember later on when you ask how much you have done. And so what we find is that, as groups get larger and larger, people are relatively less able to take into account what everyone else has done in the group. And so overclaiming gets larger in aggregate. One of the seminal studies of overclaiming that was done in the 1970s was a study among married couples. And they asked married couples to tell the experimenter how much each of them contributed to various household chores, like cleaning the kitchen and doing the dishes. But they asked not just about good things, but also about bad things, like how often were you the one to start the arguments? And what they find is that even just among 2 individuals, so just among these couples, that the pair tends to overclaim. So together the 2 of them say that they've done more than 100%, right? But what was really interesting was that it wasn't just for things that seemed like they would be good things that people feel like they should be taking the credit for, like doing the dishes. You also saw overclaiming for these negative events. So people also claim more credit than they claim more than 100% for starting arguments. And so because this is sort of an egocentric phenomenon that has these components of both attention and then salience, what comes to mind first, which is sort of always your own contributions, that can result in people claiming more credit not just for positive things, but also for negative things. We have examined a few interventions to try to reduce overclaiming, and what I've been examining is how can we get people to try to consider others' contributions before they consider their own. And so there's some easy ways to do this. What we can ask is for people to write down the names of everyone else in their group and then report what percentage of the work they thought each of those other people did before they report themselves. And so it reduces the amount that people themselves claim most strongly if they first think about everyone else and write what they contributed. It also reduces it even if they think about everyone else afterwards, as long as they know that they're going to have to think about them at some point. And they also don't even need to write exactly what every person contributed. If they just write the names of the people in their group, that even that reduces it. So we think of that as more of implicit unpacking. So this is the way that we talk about it is it unpacks every person's contributions, and so it puts your contribution into a greater perspective within the group. The only way in which we can understand sort of a broader set of experiences and understand like the causal relationships between variables is to run experiments, right? And we can run experiments not just in the laboratory, but also in the field, right? We can go into organizations and run experiments and randomly assign people to different conditions to understand, how those different conditions influence like the later judgments and behaviors and decisions of the people. And so I really truly believe that only through running these experiments will we be able to get accurate data to inform the way that companies should be making judgments and decisions, to inform the way that they should be behaving.